everyone. Welcome to our closing ceremony for Neuromatch Academy 2023. Thank you so much for joining us. I know it's the end stretch and you probably want to go relax this weekend and let your brain recover, but we're really happy to have you here kind of celebrating all of your many accomplishments over the last 3 weeks. So I have Nick and Courtney here with me, who are both instrumental in making this experience happen for you as well. And we'll be bringing some other people on throughout. I guess I should have said I'm Ella. I'm the Executive Director of Neuromatch Academy. So yeah, so I'm gonna just immediately hand it over to Nick to tell you a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes of Neuromatch.
Yeah, so there's all sorts of people that work behind the scenes to make Neuromatch work. You've probably met some of them as you go through your course or as you interact in Discord, or even if you emailed support for some reason, you probably talked to somebody else. And so there's a lot that goes on back there that not everybody sees. This includes the commits and work that are taken to build our course materials. These are maintained in GitHub. And so there's all of these, we can kind of measure sort of the activity that happens on them by how many commits are made to there, including management of tools that you might use as a student or as a TA. So perhaps you interacted with the Discord bot that put you into the correct pod, or maybe you played a game of chess or facilitated and took part in the art contest. A lot of these things are maintained by not just the Discord bot, but the team that maintains Discord as well. And then, of course, we have contributions to kind of like widgets and tools and supporting pieces that exist behind the scenes as well. We also have project management tools that kind of show how many things were done. So if you just measure it by how many tasks that volunteers and staff members completed, it's over 2,200 tasks that people worked on to make this whole thing happen. And that's over the course of a really long time period. A lot of our volunteers really start working back in, I don't know, what do you say, December-ish? Earlier for some people. Ella just works all year. And so this is really kind of like spread over a huge amount of time too. And of course, like that's kind of talking about what happens on sort of our systems back end, but then you actually start to see where this crosses into some of your own student experience. So for example, everybody who applied, whether it was as a TA or as a student, you end up in this applications pool. And all applications are reviewed live by qualified other researchers or the instructor team or the student team. And to make it fun, they set this up in a contest style. So they all take turns reviewing different applications, and they look at how many applications they can review out of the pool. And you can see even just from Mirion's message here in Slack that there's literally like almost 50 people just reviewing applications. So tons and tons of people involved.
I'll just add here that I promised a limerick to everyone who reviewed over a certain number of applications, and I'm still writing them because we had so many volunteers exceed what I expected. So if you're there and I owe you a limerick, I will get it to you. I'm not going back on my limerick promise.
They've been good. Good poems. So we also then kind of moving even closer to the front end where you interact with things. There was a ton of people who supported on Discord this year as well. Over 1,500 different support tickets and inquiries, whether that be somebody needing to find their way to a pod or having a technical support issue, or just looking for some moral support as they encounter really difficult teaching materials. We handle all sorts of types of inquiries. But Mel and Courtney were particularly impactful in handling over 400 of those tickets each. So it's a huge number of them. And considering that they come in, remember, Neuromatch Academy runs 24 hours a day as soon as it starts running. It's in all time zones all around the world. And so we have tickets coming in constantly. So watching Courtney and Mel and the team around the world to be able to handle those is really impressive. So we tried a whole bunch of new things this year. We implemented Big Blue Button, which is something that Constantine can actually talk to a little bit more now that he's up on screen. In fact, Constantine, maybe I'll give you a second to talk about Big Blue Button and the Discord bot. And introduce yourself, I guess, since you're here.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me all right? Perfect. I'm Constantine, and I'm full stack developer here at Neuromatch. So this year, we implemented Big Blue Button as like an alternative to Zoom, and that was a lot of fun. It provided some challenges, but we learned a lot, which was cool. I guess should I how far in detail should I go about this?
I mean, mostly I think the takeaway here is that it was people didn't get to see it, but it was a big effort behind the scenes to implement the kind of technical stack of Big Blue Button. So Constantine was able to pull together the sort of like remote servers and put in place the like sort of scaling infrastructure to make Big Blue Button work. And this included upgrades to our Discord bot. So our Discord bot now talks to our main databases, and it has a whole bunch of new features added to it that make it more fun and easier to interact with. We did other activities this year, including these new Ask Me Anything, or AMAs. Several people around Neuromatch, including some external people, got to take part in these. So Courtney and I did a session answering questions about Neuromatch Academy and running a program like this. We had Sharana Rice answer questions, for example, around working in startups in neurotechnology. So lots of fun sort of interactions there. There were live activities, hangouts, and study sessions, basically a whole bunch of new social activities we didn't have before, and the new project management software we mentioned earlier.
And I'll just emphasize before we move on, I want to emphasize two things. One is why we switched to Big Blue Button, which maybe not everyone knows, which is a few weeks before the course, we realized that Zoom wasn't working very well in Iran. And so we had to scramble to figure out something that might work a little bit better in that country. So we found Big Blue Button. Lots of our students helped us even before the course started by trying out Big Blue Button while they're based in Iran, and that seemed the best solution. So we really, really scrambled to get that solution together. And yeah, obviously there were some struggles, but hopefully it did help some pods that had a lot of students in Iran. The second thing I want to emphasize just quickly, because for the rest of this ceremony, we'll be celebrating all of you and our volunteers. So I just want to address the question that was, how long will we get access to the learning materials? And I want to emphasize forever. These Jupyter books that you've been interacting with will stay up for, I can't promise hundreds of years, but for the foreseeable future. They get updated every year, but you can also always see previous version materials in the GitHub. And also, you'll stay on the Discord. We eventually make you alumni on the Discord, but you still get to interact with each other there. And also, one thing we maybe haven't emphasized as much as we should is that our Crowdcast, what you're on right now, has a history. And we've had lots of great panels and professional development sessions in previous iterations of Neuromatch Academy as well. And those are all available for you to go see. And a lot of them, how to apply for grad school hasn't changed much in the last couple of years. So you should definitely check those all out. Those are also available. All right. So with that, before we get to all of our students and TAs, we want to first take a moment to really thank our amazing volunteers. So I'm going to hand over to Courtney to talk about this.
Yeah, thanks, Ella. And I feel like it's already been mentioned a little bit, but yes, Neuromatch Academy is not possible without tons and tons and tons of volunteers. So we are very grateful to all of the volunteers that help us out through all aspects of our course. Let's see, you can go to the next slide, Ella. It's a little grainy, but that's okay. These are just a few of our amazing volunteers. They helped us with things like reviewing all of our student applications and TA applications. They helped with our Discord support. Folks helped with updating our website. They helped with building new certificates. All of you as TAs and students will receive all of the backend tech stuff that we need to make the course run. All parts of Neuromatch Academy are touched and supported by volunteers. So we are very grateful to our big volunteer base. And in addition to all of our volunteers that help with during the planning of the Academy, we also have a huge number of mentors that come. So many of you should have interacted with our project mentors. They came during your project time to help you kind of brainstorm good questions and think of different ways to think about your projects and hopefully help you make progress on those. So we've had over 100 volunteers who actively provided 10 hours or more over the last 9 to 10-ish months of planning. So a lot of people and hundreds more have contributed in many other ways, providing feedback in Slack, looking at our content, reviewing our new curriculum that we created for deep learning, all kinds of things. And we're really lucky here at Neuromatch. We have a long legacy of volunteers who keep coming back year over year, which is really awesome. And in addition to that, this year we had 56 brand new volunteers who had not volunteered with us at all before and made huge contributions. So that was really exciting to us to see new folks coming in, as well as having our great and very reliable volunteers from past years as well. And this is something we're always looking for. So if you're interested in volunteering, we're always open to new people. And I'll pass it over to Ella to talk a little bit about the exec committee.
Yeah, so we have so many amazing volunteers, and we also have this executive committee, which is also volunteers, to sort of steer the directions and make sure everything that needs to happen happens. So these people especially just have put in massive amounts of time and effort and emotion into making this happen. So I just want to go through them briefly, talk a little about what they did. So Björk was in charge of instruction. He and his team did amazing things with updating our TA training to be a little bit more asynchronous and supporting TAs throughout. Marius and Scott are our project co-leads for the second year running. So they helped make sure that all the project materials were good, that there were project TAs who could provide support and just organize that whole process. Rian is our registrar. So our registrar department handles student admissions. All of the application reviewing you saw earlier was done by many people, but led by Rian. Shannon is our curriculum lead. So she especially focused on updating the deep learning course this year. So some of the last week was all down to her leadership and vision. Kevin is in charge of student experience. So he did amazing things with the Discord, all of those new games and bots and activities. That was all Kevin's team. And he helped organize the ceremonies and all of the AMAs. That was all Kevin's team. Antoine is in charge of operations. So Antoine did amazing things with matching this year. So he got everyone into the pods based on what language they speak, what time zone they live in, their interests, and so on. And he also helped spearhead evaluations and just has been hugely helpful in other areas too, like Discord support. Spiros is in charge of production. Production means that the Jupyter book you're looking at is good. All the code works. It's shiny and polished. Day to day, the content length is similar and a good high quality. And Spiros has been with us for many years, so he really has been here from the start. Alberto is in charge of communications. So there are some awesome communications this year. I especially loved, if you haven't seen the one that was like a movie trailer for Neuromatch Academy, I've literally watched it like 50 times because it's so funny. It's so extra. But Alberto was in charge of leading the whole team around social media, around emails, around lots of outreach to get people from as many countries as possible. And then there's me. I've already introduced myself. This team made it so I had to do very little this year. I just made sure things were running and made sure everyone was integrated and everyone was getting what they needed to do.
Yeah,
we also
just to can I add on, Ella? I feel like you understated your role. I think Ella has been a huge help as the executive director of Neuromatch Academy. She came back for a second year in the position this year and is just a really wonderful leader. And we're very grateful for her insights as well as organization and support for the team. So thank you, Ella.
Thank you. That was better than my introduction of myself. We also have a board committee who is helping kind of steer Neuromatch Academy and Climate Match Academy longer term, thinking more in terms of 5 years than just for next year. And so that I'm on that as well, as is Nick, who is here, Kate, Amita, Gunnar, Brad, Megan, and Nihan are the lovely faces you see before you. They're all helping us figure out where to go from here and how we grow and expand Neuromatch Academy, which Nick will talk a little bit about later. Nick, do you want to introduce the staff? Most of whom are here.
Oh, you're muted, Nick.
Oh, okay. There we go. I'm back. Most of them are here in this call. So we have me, CEO, Courtney, who you've gotten to meet through many different means, probably throughout the whole course, whether she's answering support tickets or meeting with volunteers or leading these types of meetings. We see her a lot. And Konstantin, as mentioned, is our full stack developer. We also have Viviana and Serbi, neither who are here right now. I don't know what time, it's like 3 in the morning or something for Viviana. She's currently in Korea. Viviana does a lot of our analytics and data work. So she's going to work a lot on surveys, analyzing survey work and stuff after the course, helping us to find places where we can improve and make sure we're meeting our goals and achieving what we want to achieve. Serbi, if you sent an email to support@Neuromatch or NMA@neuromatch.io, probably was answered by Serbi. So she was helping with our support.
All right, so we also just want to extend a huge thank you to all of our TAs. If you're here as a student, you know just how much your TA impacts your experience of your course. And we've had some absolutely amazing TAs join us and shepherd their students through the materials. So these are just a few of them. I think we had, well, I'm not sure of the exact number. I think we had like 150 TAs total across both courses. We had regular TAs and project TAs, and lead TAs just doing lots and lots of work. A lot of them went above and beyond to ensure the best possible experience for their students, and it's really cool to see that. So let's we have a teaching assistant here to chat to. So Shubhrojit, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi everybody. My name is Shubhrojit Mishra. I'm from India, and I worked as a project staff at the Indian Institute of Information Technology, Kota. And currently in the Neuromatch Academy 2023, in the course of deep learning, I have participated as a teaching assistant, and my pod's name was Rapetosaurus Saucus. I guess this year's every pod has a dinosaur name. And my voice might be a little bit breaking because of the connection issues. Anyway, so I will be going with the questions here, and I guess I'm the only TA joining this session. So
yeah, if you're in the chat and you're a TA, chime in, answer these questions as well. We'd love to hear from you as well. But yeah, so what's your favorite part about being a TA?
Okay, so before being a TA, I'm a part of Neuromatch. So once again, I would like to mention that Neuromatch is a worldwide non-profit organization for democratizing science and promoting equal involvement in scientific research. So getting a chance to be a part of the Neuromatch Academy is a very big opportunity. And since the Academy has a global span, so due to the Academy's global reach, you could be sitting here in India and be in direct contact with someone in the US. And so these two countries are exactly opposite on the global map, but you can be in direct contact with them at the very same time. So for being a TA, you see, you get to teach people, you get a teaching experience. In my age, I'm 30 years old, and I will, maybe in the coming days, I will be teaching many more students. So being a TA actually helps you gain more strength, gain more knowledge. And since people who have already went through the deep learning course, they know something about reinforcement learning. So being a TA actually reinforces your confidence in being a teacher, and teaching students on the during your next teaching years. So that's something that people should be doing. People should be joining as a TA, and that's what I am really proud of, and also it's my favorite part.
So you a little bit answered this, because maybe your advice that you give to students is to become a TA, but any other advice for students who just completed the course? Oh, I think you're muted. Unmute.
I guess I got muted accidentally. So yes, for the students who have recently completed the course, so many of the students in the whole of the course, as well as in my pod, they were complaining about the contents being very large for them. Like some of the day's contents were way too much big. So that was not possible for them to complete in the 4.5 hours of the coursework session. And so many of the pods, I have also seen students actually attending the whole of 4.5 hours, but still not being able to complete. So I would request the students who have just completed the course to go through the course materials once again, and maybe take 1 week or 2 weeks to go through the material, so that you get a firm grasp on what the course material is. You don't have to rush through them. And between the between the code blocks which were present, you could see that many code blocks contain some links. So please go through those links. Those links contains a lot of materials. You have a lot of articles. There are also many suggested books which you can read on deep learning to better know the architectures. And the more you know the architectures, the better it is for you, because that will help you gain a better grasp of the subject. And I have also seen many students being undergrads. They're on the sophomore year, or maybe in the junior year. So for them, it is very much necessary to grasp or to go through as many as contents they can, because it will eventually help them build their intuitions about deep learning and the models, which actually starts nothing from nothing but just basic maths, including linear algebra, probability, and statistics.
All right, thank you so much. That was some really valuable wisdom. So I hope everyone paid attention. And yeah, I just want to emphasize, we really encourage you to consider applying to be a TA in the future. If you've been a student, you've been through the material, and you can help others go through it. I always say that you don't really know something until you teach it. So it really helps consolidate your knowledge. If you do it next year, by the end of TAing, you're going to be an expert. So yeah, we definitely encourage you. I think as Shubhajit pointed out, there's a lot of benefits to yourself, and also you get to shepherd students into this world of computational neuroscience and deep learning, which is, I'm a teacher, so it's fun for me. I think it's fun for many people. All right, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for being such excellent TA for many years. All right, and then we heard from some other TAs in the chat, which is really, really nice to see some are here. All right, so now we get to celebrate you all. We've celebrated volunteers, we've celebrated TAs, and now it's arguably the most important people, which is our students. So congratulations for being here. You made it through 3 weeks. You learned an insane amount of content. We know it's an insane amount of content, but you did it. And as we keep saying, it'll be available forever for you to go back to. So you should have a really thorough sort of foundation in computational neuroscience or deep learning. And from there, you can launch into using it in your research, further courses, just keeping it as an interest, better understanding research papers in those fields, being better able to assess whether AI is an existential threat. There's a lot that these courses prepare you for. So congratulations. We just want to emphasize the amount of countries that we have participants from. We have students from over 110 countries, which is just insane. We had thousands and thousands of student applications this year. We had 4,442 apply. So you can see why we keep emphasizing the review of applications as a big undertaking. We had 266 TAs apply. We have an incredible amount of enthusiastic people who want to help students. And that was just for Comp Neuro. We had 241 apply for deep learning. And so, yeah, in the chat, tell us where you're from. We always love to see just the huge spread of people present in this room with us. So, Courtney, do you want to maybe talk a little bit more about our TA and student distributions?
Yeah, definitely. So in the same way that we have students from all over the world, our students are also at very different career stages. So we have folks who are undergrad, master's students. We also have folks who are in industry, postdoc, even faculty. We get a lot of people who are interested in maybe changing career path a little bit, and so they want to gain a deeper perspective on new topics, which is really awesome and makes kind of the pods really interactive and able to peer learn together really well, which is awesome. We also have about almost 50-50 gender split. So I would say in terms of STEM fields and for other STEM opportunities, we're really proud that we are able to serve folks across the gender binary and have good representation of everyone. So we're happy to have that, and hopefully everyone has had a good experience with their pods. Yeah, thanks, Ella.
Yeah, it's incredible to see the gender distribution. As someone who's been in a STEM field for a while, it really makes me hopeful that we're achieving better balance in these fields, and it's really exciting to feel like we're even having a tiny effect on that. All right, so now we want to go through some of your memories. We asked you to share some things you're proud of, and we want to share some of the things you've all been doing for the last 3 weeks, in addition to learning content. So obviously projects is a big component of our course. And here is a breakdown of the different data sets you worked in. So for Comp Neuro, we had lots of pods in doing neurons. That was our most popular. We had a lot on behavior, fMRI, ECOG, and theory as well. For deep learning, we had our most popular data set was computer vision, but we also had lots of pods working on natural language processing, neuroscience, and reinforcement learning. And these word clouds are based on the abstracts of your project. So you can sort of see for each course what the hot topics are. So for the computational neuroscience course, a lot of people care about neurons, which makes sense, but also movement, models. I see RNN being pretty big up in there. Brain is big, that makes sense. For deep learning, we've got model as the biggest and most common word. We've got performance, data set, accuracy, and then you can see lots of little words there. So that just gives you a flavor of the kind of most common topics that you all are working on. So we asked you to share some of your memories, favorite memories from this course, not from life, although we'd love to hear those too. So yeah, you should share, if you want to, feel free to share a memory in the chat. We've got a few up here from our Airtable survey. So people really highlighted other people. So the ability to meet other people, work with people from various backgrounds, how You know, it broke them out of just knowing people within their town or even country. And so it really reinforces what we already suspected, which is that like the other people is really what makes Neuromatch Academy tick, not just the content. I like the strawberry team. So I have no context here except this photo, which is them all being strawberries. So that sounds fun. A lot of people mentioned the memes channel, and I see in our question about your favorite thing, memes wins by far. I have to say that I also love the memes channel. It's been a great addition to Neuromatch Academy to have all those memes, and it was very active. I didn't count, but it felt like hundreds of memes were shared across both courses. And then we asked what you're most proud of. So again, feel free to share that in the chat or just reflect on it, because it's always nice, you know, as at a graduation to reflect on how far you've come and what you're proud of. So a lot of people, again, highlighted that they were proud of the connections they've made. They're proud of meeting those people that they can form longer term connections with. A lot of people emphasize that they're proud of working on their first project, or proud of working for so many long hours and absorbing so much knowledge. And a lot of TAs chimed in saying they were really proud of their students, which is really nice to see how proud they were that their students had learned so much. We also had social events. These are activities. These were new this year. So this is stats from our Discord. So in our computational neuroscience course, we had over 40,000 messages. That's so many. And we had 3,717 minutes in activities. So those were those activities that you could play, like games and hanging out, and lots of coding sessions were happening. Deep learning had over 20,000 messages and over 600 minutes in activities. And then we also had lots of social events. So we had a chess tournament. We had 219 chess matches as part of that tournament. We had 98 different gaming sessions and 55 submissions to our art contest. And you'll see a lot of those submissions very shortly. We also had a bunch of different games you could play. I actually didn't play any games, which I'm now realizing I really regret. So maybe I'll go play games soon. But our most played game was Know What I Mean. People just really love memes at Neuromatch, huh? And then there was Gartic Phone. Am I reading that right? I have no idea what that is. Someone, if you've played that, explain it in the chat, please. I'm curious. And then we had mini golf and soccer. All right. So now we have the contests. So as you all know, we had these art contests that you all could submit to, and we had different categories for different types of art. And we actually are going to highlight almost all of the entries, but winning entries are marked with a little ribbon. So if you see a ribbon on a submission, you win. That person won. And you should keep an eye out, because we're going to try and highlight some of these winners in our socials, such as Twitter and so on. And hopefully we can get it together and it will become an emoji in our Discord in future years. So Nick, do you wanna help me present the art contest? Maybe you can talk a little about these submissions.
Yeah, I think art contest is one of my favorite social pieces of the Discord. I really like art, and it's so fun to see that everybody who takes part here is not, just a scientist or engineer, but has these creative sides. Or, I mean, not to imply that engineering isn't creative, but these artistic sides. And so we get art in all sorts of forms. There's several different contests. You'll see the winners of these sort of independent contests over the next few pages. But if any of you are in the chat who were artists behind these, feel free to highlight yourself share your name and announce what you made. You can see that a lot of these like vary. There's funny ones, there's serious and artistic ones, there's dark ones. It's really nice to see the like variance that comes in all of this art. But you can also see a lot of them just take the form of memes also. So memes really kind of slip into every piece of the kind of like creative stuff that we inject here. But I think one of the other funny things or like exciting things about this is there's just like so much of it. So many people contribute to this, and it's so fun to see all the different like ideas and jokes and concepts that are communicated through these. So I hope you had a chance, even if you didn't contribute to the art contest, to go through and get to see them both here and as they came up in Discord. It's really awesome.
Yeah, I'm just going to go through these one more time because I feel like they're all so brilliant. I want everyone to see them all, but they are in Discord, at least in the ones for your course are. So definitely go check them out because we have some really creative students. This winner here is for the t-shirt contest. So I want a t-shirt with that on it. Here's some more. These are all neuron related. This one with the neurons in a circle, that's inspired by a famous painting, but I'm forgetting what the painting is. So if you recognize this, it's people dancing. So trivia time, if you know what painting I'm talking about, put it in the chat. We had some amazing pod logos about dinosaurs, unsurprisingly. We had some really just cool art here. This one, in case you didn't get the joke without the title, this winner here by Arjit Kant Gupta is neural modeling because it's a neuron on a catwalk. I feel it needs the title, so I'm going to explain the joke. And yeah, I mean, these are just incredible. I wish I could do this type of art. So this one is of an fMRI, an interpretation of someone sleeping, and it's showing the fMRI in their brain while they do so. Some of these, I believe, are AI art. So we also allowed people to get a little help from artificial intelligence in their creativity. But it's not as simple as just putting in a prompt and getting an image back. If you've ever tried it, you have to, there's a real art to getting the prompt right. We made it a separate category so we didn't run into the controversy that a lot of art is experiencing about AI art winning contests when compared to humans. This middle one is a winner for Comp Neuro for the AI art. So an AI helped with that, but it's just beautiful. I'm sure Maria put a ton of time into engineering that prompt and getting that. And then, of course, the memes. I also wanted to just highlight because you can't see them, we're going to listen to a couple of our music submissions if I can get that working. So this is called Ocean Song, and I believe this was done as part of their NMA project, but I'm not, and the spectrogram on the right is for the song, but I don't actually know all of the details. So Stefan, if you're in the audience, tell us how you made this. This one is Thoughts by Gleb. It's very pretty. I'm sorry to cut off these songs, but I'll just have snippets of them. This is Ripples on the Bank Shore of Serendipity. Beautiful. And then our final one was Just a Normal Piano Waltz. So some beautiful, beautiful pieces. We've really got some amazingly creative people as part of our community. I feel like we should have a Neuromatch Spotify playlist and put all of these on. Actually, if you haven't seen it, John Butler, who's a Neuromatch Academy volunteer, in previous years has tweeted a song for every day of the Academy that's thematically linked to what you learned that day. We've done a terrible job of promoting that because it was so thoughtful and good. Maybe I'll dig it up and post it on Discord, but you should check those out. He makes some very fun connections. All right, and last but not least, we want to highlight our chess tournament winners. So in computational neuroscience, our first place winner was Bruna Vieira, with Hamid Reza coming in second and Ashawad coming in third. In deep learning, our first place winner was Ashar, with our second place being Yalda and our third being Mohammed. All right, so I think that brings us to, yeah, Nick just said in the chat that if you won, you should put International Chess Champion Neuromatch on your CV. So I endorse that. You can also say Neuromatch Art Contest winner if you won, or Neuromatch Art Contest participant. We can give participation certificates. So yeah. So with that, before we tell you a little about what's going on in the future, I just want to say one final time, like, congratulations so much. Like, it's not a small thing that you made it through this course. It's a lot. It can be intense. It can be overwhelming. You all pushed through. You're all here. And you should be really, really, really proud of yourselves for doing that. It's some tough content, and it's tough to get a research project going in just a few weeks. And you all did it. And you made friends along the way. And you made some great memes along the way. So it's, I'm continually impressed by our students and our TAs for helping everyone through it. So that, Nick, want to tell everyone a little about the future of Neuromatch?
Yeah. So some of you may or may not be aware, but Neuromatch Academy is sort of just one piece of what we work on. Now it's a big piece. It's the main point of attention for most of our organization. But we also have activities like Neuromatch Conference, Data Analytics, and Scholar Nexus, which we used to be called Open Publishing. And I'll talk about those in a second. But first, sort of talking about the future of Neuromatch Academy, Ella introduced a board earlier, the Neuromatch Academy Committee Board, that basically plans sort of things over the next 5+ years of where we're going and what we're planning to do. And one of the things I want to emphasize is that, yes, this group of people is responsible for thinking about that and collecting information on that and influencing that. But really what we're trying to build and who we're trying to work with is you. The goal is to take in your input, take in your thoughts, the needs of students, TAs, people who take part in these programs, and try to build something that's going to serve them well and solve the problems we're trying to solve in the world. So when we look at Neuromatch Academy and what we've done so far and what we're looking to do next, one of the first things you'll probably have noticed is Climate Match. So Climate Match is a sort of expansion, or like taking this model of group education, peer-to-peer learning inside of these pods, and including this like project time, this sort of like mix and this educational approach applied over in the climate sciences. And so something that we've really noticed success in, and something we want to see continuation of, is this specific learning model, or this learning approach. And so we expect to be able to see that in more courses and more areas over time. And how quickly we get there is, something that we'll see as we develop. But Climate Match was the first example, and so far has been a really great success. On to these other points, really what we're looking to do, if you think about Neuromatch Academy as sort of the beginning, what we're trying to do is then continue people's journey through science, if you want to put it broadly. We're trying to focus on activities that help people participate in science, reworking what participation looks like to make it easier for more people to take part. So Neuromatch Data Analytics, for example, is sort of a continuation of what Neuromatch Academy is trying to do. If Neuromatch Academy is education and first research experiences and this sort of like teaching component, data analytics is sort of on-the-job work, internships, early career research opportunities, and things like that. And then from there, we look at activities like Scholar Nexus. So when you're actually participating in science, how do we lower the barriers to participation, making it easier for people to contribute to scholarly publications, to read them, to get credit for them, etc. And that's what Scholar Nexus focuses on, is this open publishing component. So when we think about the future of Neuromatch, all of it is really going towards this idea of broadening participation and getting more people to contribute. And of course, as Zella mentioned, and we've all mentioned throughout all of this, this is made up by tons of different people, students, TAs, volunteers, staff from all around the world make this all possible, but it's also possible because of our supporters. We have all sorts of amazing companies that we work with. You'll see posts on our website over the next while, probably over the next year, where we kind of highlight the reasons that we work with each of these groups. For any of you who've been at Neuromatch in the past, you'll notice we have several new funders this year that kind of correspond to our interaction with climate. So NASA, for example, funds open science projects and climate projects. They funded Climate Match this year. We also have additional new support from Meta, as well as Google DeepMind. And of course, the support comes in other forms as well. We have collaborators who help build these courses from all sorts of universities around the world. So tons and tons of people involved, and we're really happy that all of these people make it possible.
So we just have one question, which I think is a good one, which is, we've talked about how to be involved as a volunteer for Neuromatch Academy, but how do people get involved with all these other parts of Neuromatch, like Neuromatch Data Analytics and Neuromatch Conference?
Yeah,
and
great
Scholar
question. So like Neuromatch Academy, we are 99% volunteers. People work to make Neuromatch Conference happen. This includes helping out with matching events or conference events themselves. On the Scholar Nexus side, this thing is in its early stages of being built, so there's not quite as many volunteer opportunities, but we're especially looking for people who are interested in working on development, UI, UX, helping to form some of the elements of what Scholar Nexus actually looks like. And then data analytics is an interesting program. It's in its early stages. We're currently in the process of kind of doing this matching thing, where we're in the middle of trying to find labs that could benefit from this distributed remote research approach, and finding people who are interested in working in that way. And so Neuromatch Data Analytics right now is a lot about networking. It's finding labs and people who are interested in this style of work and this sort of future of contributions to science. So involvement here looks a lot like outreach. You'd be working on the team to talk to other labs, figure out where they need help with, where there's sort of needs in their lab, whether that be on the data analysis side or software side, or in sort of a research assistant capacity. And as we kind of identify those labs, we'd identify opportunities or ways for us to help them. So in Scholar Nexus, so just to recap that, Neuromatch Conference has a much kind of wider variety of volunteer positions like Academy does. Data analytics is something that you could work inside of or volunteer inside of. It will kind of evolve over time. And Scholar Nexus is really looking for people in the sort of UI, UX, and software development space.
All right, thank you. So I think with that, we should let everyone go and have a very well-deserved rest, recover from 3 intense weeks. We hope that you'll stay around our community, that we'll see you at all of these things on the screen, and that you'll apply to be a TA next year or a student for the other courses. One just housekeeping note, if you attended enough of the coursework and projects, you'll get a certificate, and that will be available in your portal in the coming weeks. I think give us 2 weeks before you start emailing us. But yeah, you'll get a certificate of completion. So yeah, just